Hi, my name is Nathan Johnson. I'm with SWFWMD, Southwest Florida Water Management District, and we have developed a tool for stress lake level evaluation. In SWFWMD, we have 290 lakes that are currently listed as for stress lake evaluation, and we do those on an annual basis. And the stress lake procedure is actually a precursor to the MFL work that we do, and so it is not quite as robust as MFLs that we set, but it's what we have for many of our lakes within the district. Some things to note about the stress lake procedure is that it provides a guidance level to provide insight as to the impacts on the lakes. Now, some of the things that we'd like to accomplish and why we developed this tool was we'd like to develop a tool to assist regulatory staff in determining current stress lake status. We want to increase the efficiency of this evaluation. Like I said earlier, there's 290 lakes. When you do that manually, it takes quite some time, as well as it introduces human error into the process. Whereas if you have it automated, you have much more efficiency, much more robustness in what you're doing. It also can help to share and improve the evaluation procedure. We can do that simply. It makes it reproducible and internally consistent, as well as generates figures for reports. And then we can also look at the past 15 years of stress lakes evaluations, which is necessary for assessing the historic lake elevations. And then we'd also like to make it web-based for easy access for anybody within the district, so that anybody can use it in regulatory easily. Now, the code for this was generated in R, and I'm just going to leave it at that. And it is accessed, or in R accesses our Oracle databases, so we can use this and to assess our current lake statuses. I'm going to show you the tool now, and this is generated in a web page. And I'm just going to give you a brief overview. So the stress lake evaluation procedure is listed down here in this box on the side panel here, and this just identifies 7 different steps to evaluate the stressed lakes and what maybe some of the reasons are if they're stressed. And this tool works to help with the first 3 steps of the evaluation procedure. And I'm just going to walk us through an example. So the first thing is we'd like to evaluate the stress status and examine lake hydrograph to compare to the guidance level. By how much is the lake stressed, or by how much is the lake not stressed? So up here in this tab, we have some options. This is a pull-down menu with every single one of the lakes within our district to do the stressed lake evaluation on. So we're just going to go with the first one. So this is Lake Helen. And this bar right here generates the hydrograph that you see here. So we have it from 1970 to 2015. And we can look at it's helpful to look at just the hydrograph of the lake. So we can go back further if we think the lake started earlier. It starts around 1960, it looks like. So let's generate the hydrograph from 1960 through present, so we can see what the lake looks like, which is your black dots here. And we do these stress lake evaluations currently based on annual levels, or we evaluate annually, and typically we do that in the December of the year. So for our last lake evaluations that we did, we evaluated based on everything prior to 12/31/2014. And so we can really get a handle on the stress lakes and what the hydrograph looks like. And we can, if we want to look a little bit more at the most recent period, we can do that. We can zoom in here and see what that looks like. Looks like there's 2 different types of measurements. And to get a feel for what's going on with the lake levels, you can click to get to your level that you want to look at in the hydrograph. And that's for the first step. So we evaluate the stress level, and we looked at, let's look at the guidance level here. So this is what the hydrograph looks like, and then the blue line here is the guidance level. Now, the guidance level is set on every one of our stress lakes, and this magenta line here is the evaluation level. And the evaluation level is the 66th percentile of the monthly values for the past 5 years. So that's all that this magenta line is here. And when this magenta line falls below our guidance level, or our evaluation level falls below our guidance level, then that means that the lake is stressed. Down here, this table summarizes it for the current level. So if we were to do the evaluation on the lakes for 2014, this is the evaluation date for 12/31/2014. This is your guidance level. That's stationary. That doesn't change. This is the 5-year evaluation level, the 66th monthly percentile. This is the recovery level, and this applies to SWFWMD lakes. We're not going to get into that very much. One of the requirements for setting a stress lake is there has to be at least one value in the past 12 months. So we have the observations for the past 1 year, so these are monthly aggregated data points. So we have 12 months of data represented in the past year. We have 60 months of data represented in the past 5 years for this lake, so we have a complete monthly data set. Then this does the evaluation for you in terms of the stress. Is the lake stressed or not? The lake is stressed. It's identified as true, so that means that your magenta line is below your guidance level line. And then the lake is recovered. That's also a SWFWMD specific evaluation, which we're not going to get into here. So another thing for part 2 for the procedure, evaluate the stress lake history. Is it persistent, or has it changed recently? You can evaluate some of that just based on looking at the hydrograph here, so you can see how the lake is acting. Looks like it's a relatively recent phenomena within this lake. And you can look back here on this table. It evaluates it. It evaluates the lake, whether it's stressed from the past 15 years. So we can look through here. This is the past 5 years to 2010. It says that the lake is stressed. And then in 2008, the lake is not stressed. So if we did the evaluation period from 2008, it's going to identify the magenta line up here is greater than our guidance level here. It shows you that it's false, and that it's also not recovered. I'm not going to talk about that. So we can look at the past 15 years and to determine if the lake has been stressed recently or if it's a relatively new phenomena. The other thing we can do is for the third step of the procedure is to evaluate other lakes in the vicinity for similar characteristics. So we can look at other lakes, and the way that we're going to do that is we're going to go over to this map tab here. This is going to zoom into Lake Helen, and we can look at adjacent lakes, and so Lake Agnes is quite close to Lake Helen, so let's see if it does something similar. So in order to find that lake in our pull-down menu, we need to know the SID number. So we just type in, we go to this lookup table tab here, and we type in Agnes. And it's 17671, so we go 17671, like Agnes. And then we can look at the levels here. So this is what this lake looks like. I'm going to reset my evaluation date here. And it looks like this lake is doing about the same thing. The lake is stressed recently. Before that, it's not stressed. 2009, it's not stressed here. It's not stressed. So it's stressed in a similar regime. So this guidance level appears to be telling us the same thing, that lakes in this vicinity are stressed. Let's look at one more lake. So this finds Lake Agnes for us. And then maybe Little Lake Agnes. Let's look at that one. Okay, so we happen to have that 17672. Very next one. So let's look at that hydrograph here. And it looks roughly the same as the previous one, so regular Lake Agnes. And has similar characteristics. So it's been stressed the past 5 years, and before that it's not stressed. So now we'd like to, let's go back to Lake Helen here. So we've looked at this lake, and we've looked at a few lakes in the vicinity. You can do that with as many lakes as you like to see what they're doing and if they've been stressed equally, to figure out if it's a regional thing or maybe just that specific lake, and that'll give you some ideas of if the guidance level is quite right and give you more ability to see what's going on with the lake. And what we'd like to do is generate a report for this particular lake. So within this stress tool, we have some options. You can generate a report PDF form, HTML if you want to throw it in a website, or you can generate it in Microsoft Word. So let's just do PDF. Okay, here's the report. Let's take a look at it. Zoom in. So this is a PDF output, and it's just stress lake level report, Bureau of Regulation. It's when we produce the report. This gives us some summary statistics of our lake, Lake Helen. It's in Polk County. This is when the period of record starts. This is when it ends. This is how many daily observations there are, a few statistics, percentiles, max and min, and then the maximum daily gap. So this tells us that the maximum gap between days is 67 days within the whole period of record from 61 to 2015, which is pretty comprehensive history. I just have in here just the SWFWMD rules, or SWFWMD stress lake rules, so you can look at those, as well as it generates the hydrograph, the period that you selected, so from 1960 to present. You can see the guidance level and the evaluation for 2014, as well as a table summarizing the past 15 years of stressed lake history, which is what we looked at in the web application tool. So you can generate that in PDF, as well as HTML. For whatever reason you want to post this on a web page, look at that. This is what it looks like. Finally, in Microsoft Word. So we have all the same, for the most part, the same exact data here. Great. So that is the tool that we currently have developed. We're looking forward to feedback, and thank you very much for your time.